Hi everyone, I have a snack with me. So I may be snacking during the video today, but I just realized we are embarking upon a new year, 2021. So I wanted to make sure, and at the start of each year, I do a fast for the first month of the year. I never updated you all on the water fast that I did. It was in the middle of the pandemic. Basically the last water fast of 2020 that I discussed on this page, and I never came back to give you all an update. So that is what I want to do now before I start embarking upon a new fast for the new year. Also, I have just done like a 3-day fast, completely unplanned. Tonight was my first time snacking. I consumed way more sea moss and bladderwrack than usual. If you can see like the jar there, that's where I store my sea moss and bladderwrack gel, and it was about time. It had been in my refrigerator so long, and it was about time for the gel to expire. So I consumed a lot, but according to Dr. Savy, he was just like, there is no limit to how much you can consume. Those were not his exact words, but something like that. I consumed a lot, and it was the first time that I experienced like true detox from sea moss. Prior to that, my sea moss journey had been, when I work out, I don't feel sore or anything, but this time, there was some stuff came out of my nose that I have never seen in my entire life. I also decided to do, I had some detox tea, and I started drinking a lot of that. Can you see the ingredients? I don't know if you can see them, but it has sarsaparilla, ginger root, cinnamon bark, licorice root, burdock root, dandelion, cardamom, clove, black pepper, rhubarb, and a lot of other herbs. So I had so much of this tea, and to be honest, I've had this tea, but I shouldn't be drinking it because burdock root has an interesting it affects my body in an interesting way, but I drank a lot of this tea, and yeah. So when I enjoyed my fruit today, I had a banana, I had some chopped up avocado, and then I had some pineapple because I wanted to make a green smoothie. But anyway, so let me give you the update on the water fast that I did earlier this year. It was in the middle of the pandemic. It ended up lasting 16 days. I set out, I wanted to do a 40-day water fast, not because I felt like it was a divine thing to do. It was something that I believed that I wanted to do and I needed to do to move on to the next act of my life. That's what I described in my initial video. Like, our life has 2 acts and then there's an intermission. I felt this year was like my intermission before I embark upon the second act. The water fast. My approach to the water fast was I had crystal geyser water. That's what I used during the water fast. And my fast was absolutely amazing for 10 to 12 days. I think it was 12 days. It was amazing. I had great strength. I had energy. You can watch the videos. You'll see I had energy. I had, everything was good. I felt normal. I didn't have cravings or anything like that. And everything was good. But in the beginning of the fast, I consumed warm water. So I started my day with warm water, and then I consumed room temperature water. In the beginning, that's all I consumed, and everything was great. Before I go on, the total fast by day 12, I lost 20 pounds in 12 days, which was a lot, but yeah, so that was fine. What happened with the fast and why I ended up ending it is because around day 12, this was in the summer. I think it was May. It was the pandemic, but it was right before everything went crazy as far as the protests and all this stuff. Yeah, I think it was like the end of May. But anyway, so around 12, I started missing, around day 12, I started thinking like, oh my gosh, of like fruit in the summer and how I was going to miss it. I went to a grocery store and I saw a watermelon. I was like, oh, I'm missing out on all the fruit. That was a thought, but everything was fine. But for some reason, I decided to do cold water that day. So like with ice in my water. And once I did the cold water, because remember the whole time I had assumed warm water, like warm water in the morning and then room temperature water. Well, when I had this bright idea to do cold water, which I don't know why I decided to do that. Maybe because I was hot, I'm not sure. It changed everything. I mean, everything. From the last 4 days, and I tried to stick with it, but it's like I was just like balled up. Like my stomach, my body was just like, it's like it was rejecting the water. That's the only way I can explain it. It was just rejecting the water. And I would be balled up, and then I would drink water, and then I felt better when I didn't drink water. But I was like, I have to drink water. And then keep in mind, during a water fast, you're not, so you know your body is going through, I believe it's atrophy. I haven't researched water fasting in a few months. But you know your body is like building upon itself and getting rid of toxins and eating itself inside and all these things. And in my mind, I was like, where is the waste going? Because you're not having bowel movements if you're just doing plain water. That's why I guess some people do enemas. But yeah, if you're just doing plain water, where is it going? So I was in this position where my body was rejecting water. I had this gross, really gross taste in my mouth, in my lips, and so I didn't want the water. And then you're not having bowel movements. So I was like, I had to make a decision, and that's ultimately why I ended. But my mind could have kept going. Like I was in it to win it, and mentally, but physically my body was rejecting the water. So I did not think about it at the time, but afterwards, sometimes, I think it was just possibly the fact that in regular life, you can drink water, spring water, whatever. But when you're fasting, that is your only nutrient source. That is the only thing going in your body. And for me personally, although a lot of people, like Crystal Geyser water is very popular in the alkaline community, with the Sabians, Dr. Sabi community, it's very popular. But in the beginning, I was very on the go, and then I decided to finish my fast. Like just inside, I decided to quarantine myself and be at home. But so I was on the go, and maybe, I don't know, maybe that played a role, because towards the end, if y'all remember on the video, I was like, oh, I'm just going to stay at home, and now I'm just going to do the rest of my fast at home. But for me personally, with that being my only nutritional source, my body just rejected it. That's the only way I know how. Like, I know a lot of people towards the end of their water fast, they started being turned off by water, but I was so early on. But it was just, yeah, my body was just started aching, and I don't believe at any point that it was the fast. And even at one point, I tried to add lemon to the water, the cold water, and that was horrible. Like, I felt like I wanted to, it's just, what I learned was, one, I need room temperature water. I can't do cold water during the fast. For me, maybe if you start off with cold water, but room temperature water and warm water, everything was fine with me. But when I switched to cold water, that's when things went haywire. And number two, later after the fast, sometimes plastic bottles are even like these, for sure. Like, I can only keep water in a water bottle like this for like a day. Plain water, because you'll notice that it'll get like moldy or smelly or something like that. I noticed after my fast that my water, when I passed by the water, because you're just drinking water, you don't notice, but I smelled it and it smelled like kind of mildewy. So it could be the fact that my water was just, that happened, it was mildewy, or it was just the water. So that is why I ended up ending the fast, because number two, my body was rejecting water. Number one, my body was rejecting water. Number two, you're not having bowel movements, which I understand that's part of the water fast. But if I wasn't going to drink water and that, it was like, what do? You can't dry fast for the rest of your remaining, for 20 something odd days. So that is it. That's why I ended my water fast. Mentally, I was in it, but physically, my body was like, no. So what did I learn? I learned, one, you see this water filter from Pure Company. I only drink that water. Well, okay. I have a water filter, built-in water filter. And I use that water filter and pour it into my water filter. So I have double filtered water. This doesn't, I'm pretty sure this gets rid of chlorine and things like that. So I don't drink water out of, which I discussed in my other water fast a year or so ago. But anyway, probably out of convenience, I did the Crystal Geyser water. But anyway, so now water, double filter water, that is the only water that I drink. Double filter water, that's my water. I love it. I just pour my water. I don't have to be concerned with buying water from stores. Nothing ever again. Number two, if I was to do another water fast, I would buy a distiller. So I would definitely drink distilled water. I would do a water distiller and only my water, my filtered water. So those are the main components, and room temperature water. I would not do cold water. So that's why I ended it. I wanted to update you all. I said that I was, and months have passed, and now that I'm back on YouTube, now physically, yes, I lost 20 pounds in 12 days. It was gone. Like, you lose a lot of weight. Typically, people lose about 40 pounds. That's kind of average. And at first, from what I read, you lose a lot of weight fast, and then it kind of tapers off. So I was pretty much losing almost 2 pounds a day. And in the last 4 days, it was kind of steady. Also, physically, what water fasting did to my body. Now, granted, I did not do it the whole time. So I guess I didn't experience the part where it does the tightening and everything. But physically, the aftermath wasn't great for my body. Like, I went in having a derriere, and then the water fast kind of took my derriere, and I still have to build up from the effects of the water fast. Now, granted, a lot of people with water fasting, when they do it long term, they do get to the part where they experience the tightening of the skin and all of that, and that's wonderful. For me, this go around, no, the effects were not great, but one of my concerns in the water fast was my breast area, and they'll stay good. So it looked out for me in that area. But my derriere was like, girl, I don't know. So that is a part of it for me. But again, reiterate, people who do long term do experience a tightening of the skin. So I don't know. So now I just want to update you. I covered you all on why I ended it. The water quality is extraordinarily important. That is the only nutrition your body is getting. And I learned that, and I will never make that mistake again. Will I do another water fast? I don't know. I don't know. The idea sounds great, but I don't know. It would have to be something that I believe God wanted me to do for 40 days. With that being said, you will see in the future, near future, every new year I do a fast. The first month of the year I do a fast. I've been doing that since 2004, and I'll do a separate video discussing that part, but I've been doing a fast. The only difference this year for me, I want to make it a 40-day fast, but it will be liquids, coconut water, raw soups, green smoothies, things of that nature so I can still work out. I love dedicating the first month of my year to God, to my purpose, getting in tune with God, you know, just planning out what the year has in store for me, and I just love dedicating the first of things in general to my Lord and Savior. So that's where we are. I updated you all. Feel free to comment below if you have any questions. And yeah, I'm glad that I updated you all. Yes, it's a few months. Oh, and one more thing. That period was absolutely the craziest height of 2020. So when I ended my fast, after I just determined what I needed to change, I wanted to go back and do it again. But because of everything that was going on, I did not want to be vulnerable. When you're fasting, your body is very weak. When you're water fasting, just plain water, you're weak, you're vulnerable. And during that time, just something as simple as I had a neighbor, I was just making coconut milk, and I had a neighbor come and knock on my door and threaten to call the police on me for making milk. This was during the time during the protest, when you know, people of color were coming up missing. All you know everything that was happening this summer in 2020. And as a person of color during that period, I did not want to be vulnerable. I needed my strength. So it's almost like, for me, it ended at the right time, because I needed to be mentally strong, physically strong, emotionally strong for what was around the corner. And what was around the corner was Minnesota, and all of, you know, the world just went haywire. So if the timing was also probably an issue. For now, unless it's some God divine thing, the start of the year is always the best time for me to fast. Any of my fasts, long-term fasts, January is my time. Like, I'm very focused and in it in the start of the year. That's my fasting time. Anything else short-term, I guess, throughout the year, but January is my time. So I feel like if I was to ever do another water fast, it would be in a month of January. But I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it January 2021, but I am doing a 40-day fast. So I hope that you all enjoyed this video. Feel free to share your water fasting experience, what you learned, any questions, comments. Yeah, thank you for watching. Comment good stuff in the bottom. I love reading comments, and click like and subscribe. Isn't that what YouTubers say? Like and subscribe? Okay, bye.